Taurus, you were walking through life in full armor, weren't you? Every piece was put on after a wound, every layer added after a betrayal, every lock installed when someone who promised to stay simply disappeared. You became an expert at not expecting too much, at not dreaming big, at not believing when someone said, "I won't leave you." And then, without warning, without you asking, without you being prepared, someone appeared. And this time it's different. So profoundly different that it's scaring you, because when you finally give up looking, that's exactly when the universe delivers what you've always deserved. This person didn't come into your life like others. There were no exaggerated promises at the beginning, no dramatic declarations of undying love in the early days, no attempts to impress you with grand, calculated gestures. They simply arrived, as if they'd always belonged there. As if the universe had forgotten to place them in your life before and was finally making amends. And you sense this not by the words they say, but by the inexplicable sense of relief you feel when you're around them. For the first time in a long time, you're not exhausted after being with someone. You don't have to pretend to be less than you are to avoid intimidation. You don't feel the need to constantly prove yourself. You're not on high alert, trying to detect signs that this person will eventually abandon you. You simply breathe. And that free breathing, that deep relaxation you feel in their presence, is the first sign that they're not leaving. But I know what's happening inside you right now. Your Taurus heart, which has been trampled and rebuilt so many times, is screaming at you to be careful. It's showing all the old scars as evidence that trust is dangerous. It's reminding you of every time you believed someone would stay and they left you in the middle of the storm. It's telling you it's better not to believe, not to get attached, not to let your guard down completely, because the pain of losing again may be too much to bear. And that's exactly where you are now, caught between two worlds. The past that taught you fear and the present that's offering you something genuine. Between the voice of trauma screaming, "Don't trust," and the voice of your soul whispering, "This one is different." Between the fear of surrendering completely and the deep desire to finally stop fighting the world alone. Taurus, have you noticed how this person looks at you? It's not the superficial glance you're used to receiving. It's a look that truly sees you, not just the version you present to the world, but the person you truly are beneath all your defenses. They see your flaws and don't shy away. They recognize your fears and don't hold them against you. They acknowledge your insecurities and, instead of exploiting them, create a safe space where you can be vulnerable without being destroyed. This is the second sign she's here to stay. She doesn't need you to be perfect. The other people in your life always had a list of things you needed to change, improve, fix. They loved you in spite of who you were. But this person chooses you because of who you are. She's not trying to mold you into someone more convenient for her. She's simply discovering you, layer by layer, and the more she discovers, the more she stays. Do you also notice how she consistently shows up? Not just in the beautiful, easy moments, but especially when things get tough. When you're scared, confused, lost, she doesn't disappear like others did. She stays. Sometimes silently, just there. Sometimes with words that calm your inner storm, but always, always there. And this constancy, this unwavering presence, is healing wounds you thought would never heal. For Tauruses born between April 20th and April 30th, this person is bringing the emotional stability you've always longed for, but never found. They're your anchor when the world gets too chaotic. For those born between May 1st and 10th, this person is here to show you that real commitment exists, not just fantasy. They demonstrate through daily actions that you're a priority. And for those born between May 11th and 20th, this person is here to be your safe haven, the place where you can finally rest after years of carrying everything alone. The way this person communicates with you is unlike anything you've ever experienced. There are no mind games, no mixed messages, none of that push and pull behavior that used to drive you crazy with anxiety. When they say they'll do something, they do it. When they promise to be there, they show up. When they tell you they matter, they show it in 1,000 ways, big and small, every day. And you, who have grown accustomed to interpreting silences and deciphering half-truths, are almost shocked by the clarity of this communication. You're almost uncomfortable with the ease with which they resolve conflicts, with the lack of drama, with the absence of shouting and accusations. Because simple, direct honesty is so rare that when it finally appears, it seems too good to be true. Taurus, I know a part of you is still waiting for the other person to fall, waiting to discover that this is all just another well-constructed illusion that will eventually crumble. Because you've lived this story before. You've believed in promises that turned to dust. You've invested your whole heart in people who didn't deserve it. You've built emotional castles that were destroyed overnight. But what if this time is different? What if this person really is what they seem? What if you finally, after so much searching and so much suffering, found someone who is as ready to stay as you are to have someone stay? Stop right now and think. When was the last time you felt this mix of peace and excitement at the same time? When was the last time someone made you feel like you were enough, just as you are? Leave a comment saying, "I'm ready to believe in something real again." It's not just a comment. It's a declaration that you're choosing courage over fear, that you're willing to give something genuine a chance, even at the risk of getting hurt. And when you put this into words, you're inspiring other Tauruses who are also afraid to believe, to take that courageous step toward the true love they deserve. The third sign that this person is here to stay is how they respect your boundaries. You who have had to build towering walls to protect yourself, notice that they don't try to violently tear them down. They simply wait patiently outside until you feel safe enough to open the door. They understand that trust is built slowly, especially with a Taurus heart that has been broken more than its fair share. She doesn't pressure you to move faster than you can. She doesn't get angry when you need time to process your emotions. She doesn't interpret your care as rejection. She simply gives you space to feel what you need to feel, to go at your own pace, and stays there steady while you get used to the idea that someone might actually stay. And gradually, without you even realizing it, your defenses begin to naturally lower. Not because someone forced you, but because you've finally found someone who deserves to see the real you behind the armor. And when that person sees your vulnerability, they don't use it as a weapon. They honor it as the sacred gift it is. The fourth sign is that this person naturally integrates into your life without destroying what you've built. They don't require you to abandon your friends, your passions, your projects, or your routine. Instead, they fit into the empty spaces that have always been there, waiting for someone, filling your life in ways that enrich it without making you feel suffocated or controlled. You realize you can maintain your complete individuality while building something profound with them. You don't have to choose between being yourself and being in a relationship. You don't feel the pressure to change who you are to accommodate someone else. Because they don't want to change you. They want to walk alongside you as you both continue to grow and evolve together. Your friends noticed the change too, didn't they? They noticed that you're lighter, more present, more yourself. Not because this person completed you, you've always been complete, but because they created an environment where you can fully flourish. And true friends recognize when someone good comes into your life, when someone who deserves you finally appears. The fifth sign is how your body reacts when you're around her. Not just physical attraction, anyone can feel that, but that feeling of deep security, of total relaxation, of finally being home after a long, exhausting trip. Your nervous system, which has been on high alert for so long, can finally rest in her presence. You sleep better when she's around. Your shoulders drop, your breathing deepens, your stomach doesn't knot when you see a message from her on your phone. On the contrary, you smile. That involuntary smile that appears before you even realize it. Your body knows before your mind fully accepts it. This person is safe. This person stays. And there's something about the way she touches you, isn't there? Not just in intimate moments, but in those small, everyday gestures. A hand on your back when you're walking, fingers intertwined without thought, a hug that's in no rush to end. These are touches that communicate presence, that say, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. For you, who have been abandoned so many times, these touches are rewriting your bodily memories of rejection. The sixth sign is that this person is truly listening to you, not the superficial kind of listening where they're just waiting for their turn to speak, but deep, attentive listening, where they truly absorb what you're saying, remember the details you mention, and ask genuine questions because they want to better understand who you are. She remembers that dream you casually shared weeks ago. She notices when you're quieter than usual and gently asks if everything's okay. She senses when something's bothering you, even when you don't openly express it. This constant, caring attention, this way of making you feel seen and heard in every interaction, is so rare that sometimes you still can't believe it's real. And when you talk about your dreams for the future, she doesn't minimize or ridicule them like some have in the past. She warms to you. She starts talking about these dreams as if they were hers too, because now they are. Because when someone comes into your life to truly stay, your futures begin to intertwine naturally, without force, without pressure, simply blending like two melodies that were always meant to harmonize. The seventh sign, and perhaps the most telling, is how she reacts when you're not at your best. Because anyone can be there when you're shining, when you're strong, when everything's going well. But this person, they're there especially when you're broken, confused, lost. They don't abandon you on difficult days. They don't get impatient with your internal struggles. They don't make you feel like a burden for having complex emotions. Do you remember the first time you weren't right in front of her? When you thought she'd freak out, realize you had problems, and leave like the others. But she didn't. She stayed. She held your hand through the storm. She gently reminded you of your own worth when you couldn't see it. And the next day, she was still there. And the day after that, and every day after that. Taurus, this constancy in difficult times is worth more than 1,000 promises made on sunny days, because anyone can say they'll stay. But only someone who's truly here to stay stays when things get tough, when you're impossible, when it would be so much easier to walk away. They stay because they choose you, not just the happy version of you, but the complete version with all its imperfections and complexities. Do you also notice how she talks about the future? Not as a vague fantasy, but as something she's actually planning to build with you. She talks about when we do this instead of if someday. She makes plans for months ahead and naturally includes you in them. She's already considering how the decisions she makes today will affect both of you tomorrow. This is the long-term vision of someone who isn't just passing through your life. She's establishing herself in it. And something profound is happening inside you because of all this. That part of you that was always waiting for betrayal, always prepared for abandonment, is beginning to relax. The walls you so carefully built are coming down stone by stone. The constant fear of loss is being replaced by the growing confidence that this person isn't going anywhere. You're rediscovering parts of yourself you've hidden for years because it was too risky to show them. You're laughing more freely, dreaming bigger, trusting more deeply. And all of this because you've finally found someone who creates a space where you can be vulnerable without being destroyed, where you can love without being punished for it. For Tauruses who spent years building things on their own, who learned not to depend on anyone because they always left, this experience of having someone consistent is almost disorienting. You're used to being everyone's rock, the strong person who can handle everything. But now you have someone else being your rock too. Someone saying, rest easy, I've got you covered now. And you're learning that you don't have to carry everything alone all the time. This doesn't mean you've become dependent or weak. It means you've finally found a balanced partnership where you both support each other, where there's no dynamic of one always giving and the other only receiving. It's a genuine, reciprocal exchange where both invest, both care, both choose to stay even when things get tough. And your Taurus intuition, that deep wisdom that comes from your earth element, is telling you something your mind is still processing. This person is different because they've already made up their mind. They're not testing the waters to see if it's worth it. They're not waiting for something better to come along. They're not keeping you as an option while they look for other alternatives. They've already chosen you, completely, definitely. And now they're just waiting for you to feel safe enough to make the same choice. The universe has an interesting way of working, doesn't it? It makes you wait. It makes you face seemingly impossible challenges. It makes you question whether you truly deserve anything good. And then, just when you learn to be okay alone, when you finally make peace with the idea of walking your entire life without a true partner, it sends someone, not to complete you, but to walk alongside you as an equal. This person didn't show up to save you. You never needed saving. They showed up to share their life with you, to multiply the joys and share the burdens, to build something solid and lasting together, brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. And this slow and intentional construction resonates perfectly with your Taurus soul, which values things made with care and designed to last. Taurus, I know there's still fear inside you. Fear of believing completely, of letting your guard down completely, of investing your heart again in something that could hurt you. This fear is valid. It's born from real experiences of pain. But don't let the fear of what might happen stop you from experiencing what's happening now. This person in your life is not like the others. The signs are all there. The consistency, the clear communication, the respect, the presence in difficult times, the natural integration into your life, the way your body relaxes around them, the way they talk about the future, including you. These aren't signs of someone passing through. They're signs of someone building a foundation to stay. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all this is that you don't have to do anything forced or artificial to keep this person around. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to sacrifice yourself until you lose yourself. You just have to be you, the real you, with all your complexities and contradictions, because this person has already seen you and chosen you, not an edited version. You. What you're experiencing now isn't some unrealistic fairy tale where everything is perfect all the time. It's something much more valuable, a genuine connection between two people who consciously choose each other every day, who work through challenges instead of running away from them, who stay even when it's not easy, who build something solid because they're both committed to staying. If this video resonated with something you're experiencing right now, if you recognize these signs in someone who recently entered your life, don't be afraid to believe. Share your gratitude in the comments for finally finding someone real. Your story can give hope to other Tauruses who are still waiting for that special someone. Subscribe to the channel because your true love story deserves to be celebrated and nurtured. You'll need reminders not to let fear sabotage something genuine, encouragement to keep opening your heart, validation that you deserve this constant and true love. Turn on notifications to receive content that will help you cultivate that relationship that finally honors who you are. This person came into your life to stay. The signs are all there. Now it's your turn to choose to believe it and build something beautiful with someone who finally deserves you.